So when I was there, I was talking about some of the love that I received in this community when I was growing up from, it's wonderful that, of course, this isn't a library, but you likely know that Lake Elkhorn is right across the street, or right down the street from the East Columbia Branch Library. And that's where I went every day after school, and all of the librarians who, of course, weren't volunteers since they worked there and got paid, but they created this really wonderful community of love and support in addition to the teachers who were also there. And I feel like that's essentially what brought me back to Howard County to work here. I went to UMBC, and those librarians were essentially the first ones that helped me believe that I could go to college and be the first person in my family to go to school. And as a first-gen student, I thought, what is it that I want to do? And I knew I wanted to give back to the community that raised me. And so working in public service has been
maybe move away from
move away.
Maybe a little bit.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
So essentially working in public service was one way that I could do that. And before I went to UMBC, I went to Howard Community College, and that was in 2009, which is actually where I met the county executive, who was a council member at the time, and I met a lot of our other legislators, and I realized that you really could make a difference through policy and through government, and that's really where I got incredibly involved. And so 6 years ago, when I started working for the county executive, which is probably one of the biggest honors of my life, when I look at his vision for our community and the way our administration works to not only bring that vision to life, but essentially really embody the characteristics of this organization. So I do have a proclamation and a citation to read from him, but one of the best things that we saw earlier with the students, we have over 30% of the population in Howard County is 25 years or younger. So all of those students that we just saw at Lake Elkhorn are literally our future. And it was so promising and so encouraging to hear some of their ideas, what they wanted to be when they grow up, and recognizing that this is the generation that we do have to show all of this love to so that they can then become the next leaders within our community. So not only that, but we have created a lot of programming within the county executive's office centered around young people. Post-COVID, we started having essentially grants. We have the Youth Engagement Leadership Work Group, and out of that work group came recommendations. That work group is for students essentially between the ages of 15, so about high school, 15 to 25. It has high school students, homeschooled students, students from Howard Community College to talk about some of the issues and concerns that are the most important for them within our community. And out of that youth engagement program also came grants, and there was over, I want to say over 100,000 grants that went to different organizations that were putting on community programming specifically for our youth to be able to create a positive outlet for youth and a place for them to collaborate a place for them to congregate, be with one another. Also, just a couple of weeks ago, hi. How are you? Just a couple of weeks ago, we announced at HCC on their campus a new Boys and Girls Club also that will serve high schoolers as well, giving them a positive outlet and a place in programming to engage with each other. So we've been doing a lot of youth initiatives. Most of our boards and commissions have spaces for youth as well to just continue to keep them engaged. And part of our future, when we put together our general plan, which is the long-range plan for Howard County, it's designed for the future in mind. What is it that the youth want? What is it that our climate initiatives? Climate is one of the top issues amongst our youth population. We've been moving towards, climate forward, climate and energy focused way. And so we've been doing so much focused on our youth, and it's one of the things that I love so much about working for the county executive's office is that we are working towards cultivating that next generation of leaders. And so I do want to read the citation from the county executive's office because it really does highlight a lot of the incredible work that AJ's organization does within our community. Oh, and I actually also didn't mention our workforce development opportunities. So I'll just quickly mention before I read it that our workforce development office also has, we just actually graduated one of our largest classes. I want to say, I believe it was 215 students. And so career and employment coaching, high school diploma attainment, skills training, tutoring, resume interview assistance. So really incorporating the youth within this community so that they can eventually, if they leave, come back and serve this community. Investing in them is in fact investing in our future. So I do want to read the citation from the county executive. Do you want me to read the whole thing?
Sure.
I was going to say, I read the whole thing at the school. I was surprised that the kids continue to pay attention. So this executive proclamation states that the wellness movement highlights how we can all be more positive, productive, and caring through random acts of kindness, community building, and activities, and sharing the arts, especially in our schools. In 2024. These efforts go a long way to supporting our students and our families in partnership with our educational system. And whereas the answer to a more compassionate and cooperative community and more valuable schools is to learn about people, open your heart, and the needs of others, volunteers, and be of service, and empower others to help. From students to parents, volunteers, and neighbors, we can all focus on putting more of our best foot forward with humanity and understanding. And whereas Howard County government proudly joins the Howard County Library System to celebrate and encourage ways for all of us to lead with love and inclusion and generosity as we host this year's campaign and kickoff within Howard County. Therefore, I, not Calvin Ball, County Executive of Howard County, Maryland, hereby proclaim September 17th as Love is the Answer Day here in Howard County, Maryland. And I think all of those characteristics and attributes, not only did we see in those kids earlier in their capacity to learn, but that's how essentially we lead within our administration, and something that I feel like was instilled in me from a very young age, from not only the librarians and teachers, but actually Mr. James, one of my teachers at Oakland Mills, he showed up to Lake Elkhorn to be supportive of the program, and it just almost like took my breath away because he was one of my favorite teachers in high school and was a absolutely perfect reminder in the flesh right there of why I am where I am. And so all of the investments within our schools and in our libraries, even though County Executive Ball was not county executive at the time, all of that impacts students throughout our entire lives. So because of those investments within these institutions in our community is essentially why I'm right here in front of you and representing our county executive. So with that, I will go ahead and cede my time to